I have to come here because I have to talk about an issue, an incident. Now, see, weird stuff seems to happen to me. It lately, it's been happening to me quite a lot in the past. I don't know, year now. So my kid was with me for break, and I went, and he wanted my child wanted he wanted nail polish on his fingernails, and he wanted the flag. So I got his nails done, and it was gel polish, and because he wanted gel polish, and he had had it on for a couple of weeks, and we went somewhere one day, and it was the sun was setting, and we were on our way home, and this old ass woman gets on the bus. She was either drunk or high. Um, she starts making the gestures like this. You know how the priests go like this, and then she starts making the gestures for the cross. And at first, I didn't think anything of it because there was a couple of ambulances that drove past, and then she kept doing it, and I didn't get violent for the first time ever. I did not get violent, and I was pretty surprised. It might have been because I took my medication, but I did not get violent, and so I was getting irritated, and so I guess I'd have to say that it was one of my ancestors that kind of, in a sense, whispered, figuratively speaking, like my ancestor whispered in my ear. Now, for those of you that do not know me, I personally had to, unfortunately, take a DNA test last year to find out what my mother was and where her family comes from. And they come from all over the place, let me tell you that. And I also found out for the longest time, we thought being Mexican was, in a sense, an ethnicity or a race. And as I'm learning about things, it is not. It's a country. It's like being an American, north, south, central, it's all a part of, these are all places that are a part of Turtle Island specifically is what we call it. Um but I found out that she was actually mixed indigenous. So with that being said, I'm gonna get back. So going back to the story, so I'm indigenous. So getting back to the story, she starts going ham, doing a cross gesture after she notices my son has nail polish on his fingernails, and he's got. I guess she knows what the gay. I don't know if it was the nail polish itself, and if she understood that it was the gay pride flag on his fingernails, but she just starts going ham with this cross gesturing, and I start getting irritated. And then this dude is staring at all three of us. And I look at him, I roll my eyes like, can I help you? And then I turn to her and I'm like, I take my phone, I go into my phone and I play an indigenous drum circle. So on YouTube, there are indigenous drum circle competition videos. So I just picked one, I clicked on it, and I raised the volume to it. And as soon as it started playing, and maybe not even like as soon as it started playing, as soon as they started singing and drumming, she stopped. And in a sense, it was kind of like it was almost it was weird because weird stuff has happened to me, and lately it's been happening sometimes a little too much for me. But it was like she was almost like I don't really want to say possessed because that's like a colonized terminology, but in a sense, it was like she was possessed by a white dead ancestor, and like my indigenous ancestor spoke to me and was like, put this in me, and I played the drum circle, and she just stopped, and then when we got off, she was getting off at the same stop as we were, and she was gesturing to go ahead and get off. I looked at her. I looked at her with the eyes of, no, bitch, you need to walk off first, because if you get behind me and you put your hands on my son, there will be consequences and repercussions. So, and I was like, I didn't say that specifically, but my face and my attitude and the way my tone of voice was like, go. It was like, no, you go. You go. You go. And she went. And I don't know where she walked off to, but I haven't seen her face since. I haven't seen her around since. And it's really weird because the woman that tried to grab a hat of mine that said you are on native land, I haven't seen her. The white woman that put her hands on my child, I haven't seen her. And the woman that tried spitting on me, I haven't seen her either. And it's really weird. It's almost like, I don't know. And I think these people are on drugs, is what I think. I think every time something weird happens with somebody else doing these things towards me or, my child, they're on drugs, because you have to be on dope to literally not think about what a mom or a father is going to do to you when you place your hands on their child or them. You have to be on drugs. You just have to be. And it's an issue for me seeing these things, because I expect that from European Americans. I don't expect that from my own people or anybody who's a person of color. I don't. I do not. Because my expectation is I hold you up to a higher standard, because you are supposed to be at a higher standard than these people who came over here and terrorized us. I hold people of color at a higher standard than European Americans, because I expect that from somebody who's white like my father. I expect that's to be from me. And people, say whatever you want to say. I expect that from white people. I really do. I hold people of color, black, brown, and indigenous, to a higher standard, because we should know better. We should already know better. We should know our own history. We should know pre-contact and post-contact history. We should know our own history. And not only should we know our own history, we should know other people of color's history as well. So I hold my people, my cousins, my relatives to a higher standard. And after that, I didn't really think too much of it, because for one, I was medicated, And for two, I just it came back to me because I'm busy all the time. Like I'm literally busy, busy, busy. Whether it's whatever, work, whatever, reading, cleaning, whatever. I'm always busy, doing something. So sometimes I'll forget about things, and then weeks or months later, it'll pop back up because I'm watching a video. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I just watched a video from Khadijah who talks about these things. And I just wanted to, and it reminded me of that incident, because I was not only medicated and I had taken my medicine, I was more in a peaceful state than I would have been if I had not taken my medicine. And in a sense, I'm kind of, and I see a difference in myself, being that I'm now permanently banned from almost everything but Reddit and Facebook. I might be permanently banned from Facebook soon. But I've been banned from Twitter. I've been banned from Instagram now. Um and those were the really big major things. Like, I don't have a MySpace page because when I went to go look at my MySpace page, and for like it was weird. MySpace is weird. Like MySpace used to be like Facebook, how you could post pictures, and if you had a phone with a camera on it, you could post video. But now MySpace is like all about music, and it's weird because it started off as a social media account, and now it's just like all about music and movies and stuff, and it's weird. I don't like it, so I'm like, I stayed away from it. But I've been banned from these accounts because I call out people's shit. I call out people's stuff. And I get harassed a lot. I used to get harassed a lot on social media. And I've been called everything under the sun but the username that I had, the screen name that I had. And it was mainly from white people. It was very randomly rare that it was a black or brown or indigenous person, but it was mainly from white people. So that's why I expect that from white people. I don't expect that from my relatives. I don't. I think, as somebody, especially as a person of color, I think it's your duty to learn, not only learn about these things, but to teach your children these things as well. Because when I woke up from my sleep, I realized, being lighter skinned, that there are certain things I didn't go through as a child that my child will have to go through, because it's obvious that he is of mixed heritage. It's very obvious. If you look at my kid, he's darker than me. And he's not super dark like his father or my mom, but he's still darker than me. So it's obvious that I have to be aware that he's not going to experience the privilege that I had experienced growing up. And at times today, I still experience that privilege. So when people are like, and I'm just talking about different aspects of this whole thing that is jumbled into what we know as race. And I know that he's going to have very different experiences than I did growing up. And then to go back, that I didn't notice that as a kid, because when you're a child, you don't know any better. Your parents don't teach you these things. And if they don't teach you these things, you're going to grow up not, subconsciously doing stuff and just all over the place, not knowing what is what and why your friend is being followed and you're not. But even even as an adult now, even at the age that I'm at now, I've experienced what is known as white privilege because I on the outside from a distance, if you're not staring at my facial features or my hair, I look white to people. And I've experienced that, So when somebody who's white says there's no such thing as white privilege, I'm a woman of color who is white passing, and I've experienced it. So never let somebody gaslight you. I've also experienced recently white people on the internet will make these fake accounts, and I don't know why or what dawns in their brain or what they think about or how this thought process is, because I don't think that way. They will make fake accounts to be a whole other race. So they'll now see people of color, we're not like, oh well, da 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 da, unless you're mixed, and mixed people we get stared at a lot, and it's like, how can I help you? Just ask. I'm not gonna get offended if you ask me, hey, what is your ethnicity? I'll tell you. Like, but staring is like, it was taught to me, staring is very rude, and it is very rude. Um, it's very rude and disrespectful. If you don't want somebody staring at you, you should not stare at others. Um, my mom would slap me in the face if I stared at somebody, or she would just give me that look like, why are you staring? I remember one time I stared at this woman, good, because she was a big woman, and my mom like blurted out, "Why are you staring?" And I was so embarrassed. I was so also, please don't embarrass your children. If you want to talk to them, pull them somewhere private and talk to them. Don't embarrass your children, because that fucks with their therapy for the rest of your life, is what I'm gonna, for the rest of their life is what I'm gonna say. Don't, if you spank your children, don't spank them in public. If you're talking to them, don't blurt out stuff like that, because it's very disheartening, and it 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 hinders the child's growth and development when you do that, because it's letting them know, hey, I can't talk, I can't speak up, or I can't do this because of this. But anyway, I digress. So, and now I forgot my train of thought. But, so with that being said, I was very proud of myself that I didn't get the way I usually would get on a normal, like on a regular day. Um, because usually the real me, I'm like, can I fucking help you? Is there a problem here? Do we need to situate something? Do I need to rearrange your face and your fingers and your hands and your wrists and your arms? I mean, do you need to be in a wheelchair? That's the me, but I'm looking back at it. I am very proud of myself that I didn't do that, because normally I get so irritated and so angry, and it's like, I have every right to be irritated and angry, because for years, you know, I've had, even as a kid, not realizing what was going on. I've personally experienced it. I've personally seen my mom experience it. Um, Stuff like this, because she looked different. Um, or you know, just stuff like that. But I think we as a collective, and I say we as a collective, need to educate ourselves more. And also, if somebody's not like throwing their religion in your face, refrain from telling people you're colonized because it's rude and disrespectful. I don't remember this. I remember the story. I don't remember who said it. It was an indigenous creator, and she said somebody in the comments section told her grandpa that he was colonized because he still goes to church. And he's not, mind you, she even explained he's not throwing his religion in people's faces and shoving it down their throat like a lot of these conservatives are. And she even said herself what I just said. Everybody decolonizes themselves at their own pace. At their own pace. So you saying that to somebody who is not throwing their religion down your throat is very rude and is disrespectful to them and to yourself. You know better, you do better. But with that being said, if somebody's shoving their religion down your throat, it is also your duty to speak up. But refrain from telling people they're colonized and they're not telling you, oh, you're going to hell and this, that, and the third. The Bible said, and this, and Job, and Corinthians, and Second Corinthians, and Galatians, and Revelation. This is why many of us have said, fuck Christianity, forget Catholicism. I'm doing my own thing. And as I deconstructed myself and these things, and I say deconstructed because deconstructed means to take apart something piece by piece. And as I deconstructed these things and came to my own conclusions, I felt that it was best that all of my experiences, it was almost like the ancestors were showing me what I needed to see. And I didn't know these ancestors at that time. But I made these decisions because it was like and like almost like the universe was kind of showing you what you need to see. And I was being shown what I needed to see. And at the time that I was being shown this, I was actually in church. And I thought it was a good church. And then I started going often. And I'm very observant. And there was only one person in this church that noticed that I was very observant. And they were like, don't let things fool you. This woman is very observant. When she's very quiet, but she's very observant. And I am very observant. I will sit back and be very quiet and watch every little thing that goes on around me. The sister of the person preaching told the person preaching that I was gay. At that time, I was bisexual. I was not gay. I was bisexual, but I was a part of the LGBTQIA community. I'm pansexual now because it evolves, but let's get back to this. And every Sunday after the 2 or 3 Sundays I went after that, the person that was preaching was always preaching, if you like the same sex, you're going to hell, and da da da. And then it was then that I realized that this religious stuff was not for me. It was then I realized that Christianity is not, it's not a part of me. And when somebody says, ask the universe to reveal your enemies to you, and they'll reveal your enemies to you, or ask whatever to reveal your enemies to you, and they'll reveal them to you. And it was like the last few Sundays that I went there, it was like everything was about hate for the gays, and I'm like, but your daughter is having premarital sex and is now pregnant. You're buying $1,000 suits, and you have an $80,000 car. In what realm are you going to talk about anything that goes on with me or anybody else there? Those words that you preach aren't anointed. They're poison. Hate poisons everything you do. I'm not a hateful person. I'm not a vengeful person. Can I be petty? Yes, I can be very petty. So anyway, because I don't want that tainting anything I'm doing. I don't want that tainting something that's supposed to be there for me. So I refrain. There's times where I can't. Oof. But then I'm like, it's disturbing. It's crazy. It's all of those. Because it's poisonous, because I'm pretty sure that somebody in that church went to the gay neighborhood and beat some gay people up. I'm pretty sure there was one person in that church. If anybody was gonna go and beat up somebody for being gay or lesbian, this one person is the perfect candidate. But I don't know if it happened. I don't know if it didn't happen. It might have happened. It might not have happened. But to say that, what in the flying? This man spray painted his hairline. No. So I say that to say this. If you don't know something, educate yourself. Google, Firefox, Google Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer. Well, I don't even think Firefox exists. Google Chrome and Internet Explorer. You can look anything up. Google has another space where it's called Google Scholar. You type in Google Scholar, it'll pop up and it'll say Google Scholar below the search bar. You go into that search bar. The search bar will be in the middle of the page. You type in what you want to learn, what you want to know, and it'll give you a list of books, articles, and these are all peer-reviewed articles. So these are all educational articles that have been peer reviewed. Means to it's this organization that looks over these documents, and it chooses it fact checks them, and it chooses what articles and what books to list on this site. So it'll give you these articles, these books that you can read, you can look up, you can even read them online, and you can get your information from there. And if you can also look for the book there, and if it's not, there's an uh, if you have to pay or something, which would be weird because I've never had to pay to look up for a book. But you can also look that book up in the online library, and some books do have e copies. The e copy, you can request it and read it online if you have like Amazon Kindle attached to your phone, your tablet, or your iPad, whatever. And you can read these articles, you can read, just books and stuff online now. So that's and we've also used these things in college, in school. When I was in college, we used this. It was a tool given to us by the professors, and it's a good resource mechanism to go to when you want to educate yourself more. Um, a lot of my books, I looked them up, and it. I've been reading different books each day, but it's to keep me like in the book. But all my books were the anyway. Um, I'm gonna get off of here, you guys. I've been on here too long. I just wanted to come and talk to you about that. I'll probably make another video tomorrow about some makeup products that I like. Um, and another video about my weight loss journey. Um, which I don't know, by the way, I'm like obsessed with bubblegum right now, but I can't find Bubblicious, so I just got like these double bubbles and bubble yum. I remember when bubble yum used to have the different flavors like Bubblicious. I do. It was either these two or zebra stripes, and I'm not a huge fan of zebra stripes. I was when I was a kid because it was funky colors. I just want some bubblegum. Like I wanted some flavored bubblegum, like some grape bubblegum or like watermelon or cherry. But all they had was the regular bubblegum flavor. But anyway, love you guys. Peace. Have a good morning, day, or evening.